Look, the police right now to begin with has to look at the CCTV footage, the number plate, and they have to establish the ownership. Sometimes, a lot of times, rather, there is a chain of ownership because the car changes hands, the automobiles change hands, and that is where locating the first owner, then the second owner, if any, and then the third owner, if any, becomes very instrumental in the early case. Now, you are reporting that gentleman named Salman has been detained because he was the first owner. But if the transfer has happened, if the vehicle has been sold in a legitimate manner, I think that would only just provide a cue to who it has been sold to. It doesn't really give us any real, update right now as to who could be behind the blast, but it does give us an important cue. Number two, the agencies are out there. The blast radius tells us a story. The kind of damage we are seeing on the screen right now tells us a story. But again, until the agencies do not confirm, until the agencies do not ascertain what has really happened on the ground, we just have to wait. And as the Home Minister also said just right now, within a few hours, the agencies will confirm what was the origin of the blast. But the news coming in today, the Jaish-e-Mohammed module, the kind of RDX quantity that was located, the IED material that was located, amounting to almost to 2,900 kilograms. I think if you join the dots, there is a story to be formed. But again, until the agencies confirm, you really cannot, sort of reach a conclusion at this point where we are. So we just have to wait out for the agencies and what to say. But the visuals are really horrifying, and the kind of destruction we're seeing on the screen, that's really horrifying.
Absolutely, and in fact, all angles being probed. That's the key word really over here at the moment. In fact, that's the Home Minister has indicated every angle is being probed. In fact, Abhijit, we just saw the NSG arrive here a short while ago, and they were carrying with them, all sorts of equipment, including a table. There was a massive box with the word inert written on it. What exactly do you think that these agencies would be trying to establish at the moment? What would be key to the investigation is what really the explosive material was. Do you think that's what they're attempting to establish at this point of time, Abhijit?
So there's several parts to a forensic investigation. First is to find what the blast was. The second is to rule out any other thing. You see, there are you can get traces of ammonium nitrate. I heard it mentioned earlier, about an hour earlier, that there was ammonium nitrate confirmed. I haven't heard anything since then. So it must be a process of elimination, number one. The second will be to see whose fingerprints, if you can even ascertain fingerprints, if there's anything left in the car. They will be combing for all kinds of clues, because it turns out, like you announced, that the owner has said he had sold the car earlier. They'll be checking to see if the gentleman was there. I'm sorry, I use the term gentleman very loosely in this particular case. Was sitting inside the car when it went up. There'll be very little of him, to get out. Maybe there is some paint trace on the steering wheel, if they can find it. They will be looking for a lot of things. An investigation doesn't go down one track. It goes down multiple tracks. They'll be looking for DNA traces. They will be looking for body parts of the person sitting in the car, etc., etc.
Absolutely. In fact, Major Manik Jolly, one of the descriptions that we saw from at least the eyewitness is that the main vehicle in which the explosion happened had at least 3 or 4 persons sitting inside. And does this, in any way, does this look like it could have been a deliberate attempt? Have we heard of similar acts? If it is to be, for instance, assuming a terror attack, would there be 2 or 3 or 4 persons sitting inside that vehicle? Is that what we typically see of or hear of, Major Jolly?
So typically we've never heard of 3-4 people. It's very rare, but 2 is a very reasonable number when they go out, so that even if one guy chickens out or fails or does something wrong, there is a backup happening. But even if it's a 4, it's not an impossibility. It could quite possible that the trigger happened in a way the other 2 could not get out or something like that. Those are possibilities. But yes, another thing I wanted to add on the car thing is, right, remember right now we are chasing the number plate that was available. It might as well, the number plate is just useless. It could be the same number plate could be existing anywhere else. The real thing lies in the chassis number, which is available on the axle or on the engine and all. And often they file it off. So these investigations are not easy to take off once they involve the investigation take on, and they try to ascertain where the car actually came from. And if it comes from HR 26 Haryana, this comes from a certain area which is infamous for car thefts. It could be very well be assembled stuff from here and there and a fake number plate added. It is not going to be that easy as it looks like that we got the number and we'll get the guy. And the chain of ownership, I'm telling you, it will be a complicated thing to a certain, because it's not very difficult nowadays to get fake documents and he say I gave it to Mr. X and there is no Mr. X existing right now. So there's a long road ahead right now.
Absolutely. In fact, absolutely. And let me bring in